Welcome back. The civil fraud trial in New York against former President Donald Trump, along with members of his family, continued today. Donald Trump Jr. was on the stand again as he continued to testify in the case. Once he was excused from the courtroom, his brother Eric Trump entered. He also took the stand to answer questions about the Trump Organization. Both Donald Jr. and Eric were questioned about their involvement with financial documents at the center of the $250 million lawsuit brought on by the New York Attorney General's office. The Trump brothers stand accused of knowingly participating in a scheme to inflate their father's net worth to obtain more beneficial financial benefits, such as better loan rates and insurance policy terms. Both brothers have denied any wrongdoing and claim that this lawsuit is politically driven. Attorney Hector Diaz of Diaz Law joins us once again. So out of the gate, why drag Trump's children into this?
Simply put, it's a family business. Trump Organization, it's a family business. You have Ivanka, Eric Trump, you have Don Jr. I mean, they, held, according to the New York AG, right? They held very high-level, executive-level, C-suite positions within that organization. The allegations are that the Trump Organization, Donald Trump, and his children were involved in this in presenting these false statements, that they purposefully did so.
Okay, so will his kids' testimony, though, help or hurt their father's case?
I had a chance to kind of monitor, the back and forth in terms. There's no camera in these courtrooms, but to see some of the testimony. And what you have is a situation where you have now the children kind of pushing back, saying, "Not us, not us. We relied on our accountants," and that's that's a viable defense, but maybe in front of a jury. And this trial is not in front of a jury. This is to a judge. And we know that this judge has already kind of raised some issues in terms of how, this trial has been going forward. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know that they necessarily helped, the Trump Organization in terms of these allegations. But we'll see if in the end, if this hurt.
So what's next? I mean, you mentioned Ivanka, but what's next?
Yeah, so, next week, supposedly we're going to see Donald Trump testify in this trial, and Ivanka potentially testify. I think those are going, what Donald Trump says in this case, I think is going to be something that the judge really wants to hear. He's heard a lot in terms of, gag orders being issued, telling Donald not to talk about certain things outside the courtroom. Now he gets to hear under oath about the material facts in this case. And I think that's going to be key here in terms of how this plays out.
Okay. Well, let's go to our final case now. Attorneys for convicted killer Alex Murdaugh asked the South Carolina Supreme Court yesterday to remove Judge Clifton Newman from his case 1 week after filing a motion for a new trial. The judge sentenced Murdaugh to 2 life terms in March for the murder of his wife and son. Defense lawyers have argued that Murdaugh deserves a new trial based in part on allegations that the court clerk pressured jurors to return a guilty verdict to land a book deal. Now, in the latest filing, the attorneys also allege the judge expressed too many opinions about Murdaugh's guilt to rule fairly. Okay, so there's 2 issues at hand right here. I want to tackle the first one. It's not often that you hear about, a judge trying to get kicked off a case. So this is quite unusual. I mean, what are the chances of that happening?
At this stage, really unusual. I mean, for viewers that haven't seen the Netflix, you should go and watch the Netflix to get up to speed on this. This is incredible stuff. They want a new trial. And what they're doing now is strategic. They know that, or at least they feel, given this judge's statements at sentencing, that, they believe he can't be fair. And so, the new trial is based, as it was indicated, on juror misconduct. What has been reported is that they have sworn affidavits here that, credible information that there was some level of influence by this, court staff to influence the jurors in terms of, the decision that they made. Ultimately, that's going to play itself out. The motion, though, to remove this judge, that's a high standard.
I was going to say that has to be hard.
Absolutely, because as all defense lawyers know, at time when it's sentencing, judges are going to make statements like this. They're going to say certain things in terms of their review. This judge sat through the evidence. He sat through the trial, and really sits almost like the 13th juror listening to the case. So it isn't unusual to have a judge make these kinds of statements.
Will he basically though stay, you think, the judge?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think we're going to see this judge not be removed. What's going to be interesting, though, is this motion for new trial and how ultimately, it's going to come down to the evidence that the defense has put forth already in motions and some of these affidavits and other information in terms of whether the juror misconduct actually influenced those jurors in terms of their decision.
But bottom line, do you think that, the chances are good that there would be a new trial?
I think it's too soon. Okay. I know you're asking me for a prediction.
Yes.
Soon. Too soon.
Look into your crystal ball, Hector. All right.
Watch Netflix.
Oh, you know what? My producer, Christy, has watched it, and she's saying it's so good. I have to watch it. So I will. Thank you so much. We so appreciate your time, as always, on all 4 of those cases.